This podcast with Wes Carrol, head baseball coach for University of Evansville, is brought to you by Protopost Home Inspectors, the Jeff Wade team. This is Hunter Wade at the Athletes Lounge podcast. I'm here with my guest, Coach Wes Carrol of Evansville Baseball. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So just kind of, sitting here in, mid-January, what do you think about the team you have, what have you got to see of your team so far?
A very talented group. Obviously, we have a lot returning from last year. We were one win away from, dogpiling up there in Terre Haute and going to NCAA regional, which is our ultimate goal. And, we've been knocking on the door over the last couple of years, and it's time for us to, bust it down, so to speak, this year. And with the talent that we have, we feel like we put ourselves in a position to have a lot of success and just going to be a lot of fun. I've got an older group, guys that are in their fifth year, a couple guys in their sixth year, and just have been really impactful on our program and myself personally. As far as they've been a big part of turning this program around and getting it going in the right direction, and just an overall great group to be around, and a group that I'm going to miss after this year, but we're going to enjoy this last ride with them.
Was because some of these guys were able to have 5th and 6th years? Is this one of the more unique situations you've been able to be a part of?
Absolutely. And I think you're seeing it across college baseball as a whole. I think there's been a couple factors with it from the COVID year standpoint. COVID, granted everyone an extra year of eligibility. And then also just the draft, going down to 20 rounds. I think, mid-majors across the board, have a lot of older players, skilled players that, used to be drafted between 20 and 40. And I think, that's really kept good players in college baseball. And so it's a unique kind of perfect storm. This is the last year of the kind of COVID guys, walking out of college baseball, so to speak. And so I think you're going to see a lot of teams extremely old this year. And then obviously transfer portal has changed a lot from a standpoint of, grad guys. And so you're seeing, more teams load up on grad transfers. And so it's an interesting place to be in college baseball. What I will say is that a significant amount of talent still in this game, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
So kind of, I guess, going back a little bit, what does it mean to you to be able to coach Evansville after playing at Evansville and being from Evansville?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a dream job scenario for me. This is my Power Five. This is the program that I want to continue to grow. And take to new levels. And growing up in Newburgh on the east side of Evansville here, following my brother's footsteps here at U of E and playing for the legendary Jim Brownlee, from 98 to 01, and then fortunate enough to trick a scout and go play professionally for 6 years, and then being able to come back home at age 26 and was fortunate enough to get into an assistant coach's role. And then that parlayed into, being a head coach here at your alma mater. Is really a overall special for me. I bleed purple. I believe in this community. I believe in this university, and they've been great to me. And it's it's been a roller coaster ride throughout my 15 years, going into my 16 years. But I feel like the best is ahead of us. I'm really looking forward to it. We've had facility enhancements throughout my time that I'm really proud of. Getting German American Bank Field with the all turf field with Charles H. Braun Stadium is outstanding, and we're embarking on a great future of some more facility enhancements that's going to be announced hopefully later this month, that I'm really looking forward to. So just an overall great momentum within our program, and I'm really proud to be a part of it and lead it.
So you kind of last year you guys had a pretty good year. That was a pretty good season last year. Was there anything from last year's good year that you're trying to improve upon that you think can, I guess, put you over the hump?
Finish and stay healthy. I think that's going to be, our key. Obviously on the mound, having some guys step up in some key roles. We're returning a good amount of upperclassmen on the mound that have been staples in our program, with what Nick Smith and Donovan Schultz have been able to do throughout their career, and Jacob Meyer on the back end. I feel like we have a great foundation, but we've really added some talented junior college transfers and some talented freshmen that are going to be in really important roles. So I think on the mound is going to be key. I feel like defensively we're going to be able to take care of the baseball. I feel like I have one of the best left side of the diamonds in the country, with Simon Sherry at shortstop and Brent Witter at third base. And then offensively, I'll put my 1 through 5 really up against anybody. I feel like they're complete hitters. They have balance at the plate from a standpoint of power and average, and ultimately getting on base. And so I feel like we have a formidable team that's really complementary. And what I've done is put together a really challenging schedule, because I feel like we want to put ourselves in a position for an at-large bid so that we don't have to go and win the conference tournament.
So I guess this is a double-headed question here. How do you recruit, or I guess, what's your recruiting style like? And then what type of players is there a certain type of, or I guess at least a fielder that you do try to recruit?
Yeah, I mean, that is a loaded question, because here, at the University of Evansville, is a small private school.
Yeah.
Academics are very important, so we're looking at academics first and foremost, and then we're looking for ball players, blue collar, hard nosed players that are going to play the game the right way. The staples of our program first and foremost is we want a selfless individual, somebody that's going to buy into something bigger than themselves. And it's really challenging nowadays, obviously, to find that type of player, but being a great teammate, taking pride in where they're at. The staple of our program is bringing in high school 4-year players. The transfer portal doesn't match up perfectly with how we take credits here at U of E and progress towards degrees. So we're about bringing in young talent that we want to develop in our system. On the mound with our 7-day throwing program that we do, with all the things in place and the technology that we have, we feel like we can develop players and have patience through the process with them. And so I think that's a staple of our program and how we've done it. Now, with that, we're always adapting and changing and trying to utilize the transfer portal and junior college transfers to really help and assist and balance out our classes. But all in all, the backbone of our program has been high school talent that we want to recruit, bring in, develop throughout their time, and give them time to develop in our system. We have a low roster. We're always around that 35, 36 roster amount. So not a lot of red shirting here and putting guys in positions where they're developing earlier in their career.
What's the I guess, what do you try to work on the most with your players, or even what is there a kind of like position what you kind of specialize in trying to help your team with?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I feel like we have a great coaching staff that balances out everybody extremely well. What I try to focus on is just overall development of the infield play, defense, and we do a significant amount of shifts. We're using technology that I feel like has really helped us over the last couple of years with TrackMan, with certain other software that we utilize. And then, I have great coaches around me that I really put a lot of trust in, for them to go out and have freedom to lead, coach, from our hitting program to our pitching program. Coach Griffin does a great job with our outfielders. So it's kind of a great balance right now that we have. You're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. And I've been very fortunate over the last couple of years to have some great assistant coaches that work extremely hard and care about this place as much as I do.
Yeah, there have been a lot of changes in college sports the last few years. The COVID years, COVID canceling, one of your guys' seasons, the extension of players, I guess, careers by a COVID, and then things such as a transfer portal and NIL. Has this been the busiest 3 or 4 years that you've been a part of when you've been a part of college sports?
Yes, and also rule changes too. There's
Yeah.
been a good amount of rule changes as we're trying to, keep up with Major League Baseball with pitch clocks and just a lot of new moving parts, so to speak. It's been challenging, but you've got to adapt or die kind of thing. And so we're really trying to be ahead of the curve and be ready for what the game is going to entail over the next 5 or 10 years. And so, recruiting obviously has changed a significant amount. I'm really happy with NCAA's new recruiting calendar as far as it's kind of pushed back your ability to communicate with recruits until their junior year, which I think kind of gives us time to breathe as we want to sit here and monitor what our roster looks like. And, also it's very challenging to recruit 8th graders and 9th graders who haven't fully physically developed. And so trying to make a decision on that, I think, NCAA's decision to move back the recruiting calendar has helped everybody from a coaching standpoint, but also from a prospective student athlete standpoint. I really think it gives them an opportunity to just keep working on their craft, put themselves in a position to hopefully get seen whenever they're ready. And because I think making a decision 7th, 8th, and 9th grade before you get your driver's license is always really challenging. And that's why you see a moving and shaking by the time they get to be a junior or senior.
How many I guess out of state trips do you take as a coach for recruiting?
Yeah, we try to travel around the entire Midwest. Obviously, we have connections throughout. We have all my assistants are kind of spread out from where they are from, and so obviously we want to stay local. We want to try to find the best Division I players within our community, within the tri-state area. But we branch out, throughout the entire Midwest. We're currently recruiting young men from Colorado. We brought kids in from Arizona. We've had a great connection and a pipeline up in Canada. And so, we're in a position where we feel like I also think recruiting has changed drastically as far as what you can, search and find online. I'm not sitting here saying recruit just on video. What I'm saying is just finding, connections and finding talent that then you can go and kind of see. We're also in a great location where, up in Grand Park, Indianapolis, there's a significant amount of baseball being played throughout the summer up there. And then also Lake Point down around the Atlanta area, a significant amount of baseball. You can go to each one of those places, sit there every weekend and see players from all over the entire country kind of come into those places. And then there's some great, recruiting services that we're utilizing. That's really changed, I would say, over the past 10 years. That's put ourselves in a position where you're going to be able to, see the right type of talent that fits what your program's all about.
So you kind of mentioned that the recruiting calendar got moved back. Was that, and how I guess welcome a change that was that the how have some of these other changes, I guess on your opinion, so do you like the rule changes? But I guess you guys just were following what the majors did, but did you like those rule changes or did it make it harder well, I'm sure it made it harder on the pitchers, but
yeah, some of them, yes. Obviously, I think, from a recruiting standpoint, I've liked the direction that they're going into. Obviously, I feel like, baseball in general, scholarship needs to be adjusted. We have 11.7 scholarships. I feel like that, needs to be adjusted and upped a little bit. But as far as, some of the rule changes from the pitch clock, I'm not a proponent of it. I don't think it's a Midwest college baseball problem. I think it's a West Coast problem. The amount of time it takes for West Coast teams to play the game, slow down the game. And I think us just trying to, accommodate them and get them to speed up. I don't feel like here in the Midwest, we want to play with fast tempo. We want to get on and off the field. And so I don't think it's a Midwest problem. So for us to adjust to it is just another thing. It's also a distraction, I think, for umpires. Umpires already have a tough enough time, focusing on the things necessary. This is just another added thing for them to, get distracted from in order to make correct calls. So that's the frustration part for me. But like I said, you've got to adapt or die. You got to make sure your team is well prepared and understand the new rule changes and how to participate with them.
how do the not affect you? How nice is it to have the Otters or have a team back in Evansville, just in terms of, helping guys, I guess, go seek professional or, semi-pro, I guess, opportunities?
Yeah, I think, independent baseball is become an enormous part of, farming players and developing players that have goals and aspirations of playing professionally. Like I said earlier, with the draft going down to 20 rounds, there's a significant amount of talent that is not, getting drafted and getting opportunities in affiliated baseball, and also, cutting the minor leagues in half. I feel like independent baseball is extremely loaded with talent now. And I feel like the Evansville Otters are one of those breeding grounds that, college players, whenever they run out of eligibility in NCAA, it gives them an opportunity and some really talented players to continue to play the game and dream to, play affiliated baseball and ultimately make the major leagues.
So, you of course played affiliated baseball. And did you play independent baseball as well?
I did not. I
Okay.
did not.
So
So
you played affiliated baseball. Is there anything you kind of for people that do go, I guess the affiliated or I guess independent works for this. Do you kind of try to tell them because it's tough. Even affiliated's tough, right?
yeah, I mean,
I
there's
mean,
significant amount of talent out there. Climbing the ladder, working on your craft and just physically, getting strong enough to play the game of baseball.
yeah,
What you're seeing, with velocities on the mound really taking a jump, and the technology that's involved, with understanding you've got to hit certain type of metrics in order to have success playing the game of baseball now, and just
yeah,
having the overall athleticism to compete. Really, in the international draft and the international players that are flooding minor league baseball as well. You've got to be the best of the best, and you've got to, be able to continue to elevate your game at each level to put yourself in a position, to have a little luck, being at the right place at the right time with the right numbers, and ultimately, reaching your goal of making Major League Baseball. And so it's getting more and more challenging, but the cream rises to the top, and if you're talented enough, you're going to put yourself in a position to reach it.
How and just I guess ask you about your time. This is I guess a loaded question. Did you have a favorite stop, or was each stop maybe not equal, but like what did you think about I guess each stop?
Well, I mean, I enjoyed that time of my life from a standpoint of I grew up in a bubble called Newburgh, Indiana.
Yeah,
I'd never really gotten out, of the tri-state area, and for me, getting a chance to explore the entire country and do something that I love and play the game of baseball and ultimately try to reach my overall goal, which fell short, but put myself in a position to learn and surrounded myself with great people to learn more and more about the game of baseball, and like I said, just an overall enjoyable experience traveling pretty much coast to coast, making my way from short season A ball to high A ball, or excuse me, to low A ball, high A ball, double A, and then a triple A stint. Was a lot of fun, and just got an opportunity to play with some really special players and watch them go on and have big time Major League Baseball careers. Just an overall wonderful experience that I had.
you know, uh, were New Orleans and Edmonton, which I just totally butchered the pronunciation, in the city proper or like around the city? They weren't.
Yeah, it was the Pacific Coast League. My first stint was in Edmonton, and then my next stint in AAA was in New Orleans. And so, the PCL is real and had
Yeah.
some very players, and just overall a lot of fun and a lot of great memories from my playing days. But I'm also ready to turn the yearbook and going into year 16 as a
Yep.
coach, just trying to lead these young men to what their goals and aspirations are. And obviously, they graduating with a great degree from the University of Evansville that's going to set themselves up for the next stage of their life. But also, I feel like we have talented players year in, year out that have an opportunity to play professional baseball. And throughout a career, we've had a couple big leaguers. So it's been kind of cool to something I'm really proud of, seeing young men be able to make it up, represent the University of Evansville.
How I guess how when did you decide that coaching was something you wanted to do? I know you kind of started doing it pretty immediately, I guess, after, your playing days were done, but when did becoming like the head coach actually like interest you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Baseball's done so much for me in my life. At an early age, I was very fortunate to have two older brothers that were talented in sports. My oldest brother was a very, very good football player. Went on to play some Division I football at IU, and then Jamie, obviously, such a talented baseball player that had some adversity in life with an unfortunate incident with his arm, and just seeing him overcome that. I was very fortunate to have two older brothers to kind of follow and see what needs to be done. And I just fell in love with the game, for whatever reason. Hitting was something that I was good at an early age. And it was one of those things where if you're good at something, you want to do it over and over and over again. And baseball was that my release to help me through, whatever challenging times growing up that I had. I always had baseball to lean on and go towards. And so that just kind of stuck with me throughout. And the game, like I said, has done so much for me. I love everything about it. And so when I was going through the minor leagues, that's whenever I realized, okay, I feel like I can communicate, I can lead, and it's something that I want to be around for the rest of my life. And whenever I quit, retired at 26, whatever you want to call it, and came home, I knew, ultimately, I want to try to find a position to stay in the game of baseball in any capacity. And I was very fortunate to be able to, fill a vacancy here at UE at a young age.
Pillar to Post Home Inspectors, the Jeff Wade team, ensuring confident home ownership. Call 812-490-2127 to schedule your home inspection. I think you kind of mentioned so much. Kind of went to my next topic. Do you think baseball's the sport, at least compared to football and basketball, that it takes the most kind of just work and just grind to get good at? Because but you have to work at all sports you do, but football and basketball, maybe there's a lot more just natural. I guess because the athleticism, you're relying more on athleticism in football and basketball. It's just more. Some people are just naturally good at it. To where baseball, I mean, not everyone's gonna be able to hit a ball.
Yeah, they say that the most challenging thing to do to sports is hit a baseball.
Yeah.
Would agree. Although, I love NFL football and watching football. Those athletes are some of the amazing people on the face of the
They're
planet.
tremendous.
And these basketball players are the same. So I feel like in all sports, you've got to work on your craft and be dedicated to it. And so baseball is one of those sports, though, that similar to a basketball player getting up shots, like you've got to hit, got to put in the time and effort. And ultimately, I've yet to meet a baseball player that said he was too strong to play the game.
Yeah.
And so weight room, I feel like over the past 10 years has become an enormous part of the game. And so, baseball is definitely one of those sports that you have to put in the time and effort. And usually the game will reward you. It really does. The game knows, so to speak.
So I guess I'll just ask this: what's the most unique, pitching style, kind of anything within the pitching? Because sometimes people come up with really wacky pitches that sometimes you'll get people throw this pitches and no one else throws. What's the wackiest pitch you've had thrown at while you've been the coach at Evansville?
Oh, well, I've been a coach at Evansville. Oh, we've gone against some very talented, very talented players,
Yeah.
pitchers. Obviously, fastball velocity, I think, is really in the game of baseball. And whenever you're facing upper 90s, and then you're seeing just overall stuff is just way better now. And what I mean by that is spin, sliders, curveballs. And so I think, year in, year out, we're going to face some very, very talented pitchers. There's been starters, there's been closers, there's been, lefties that have pitchability, and our conference is absolutely loaded with talent, top to bottom. The Missouri Valley Conference is really, really talented college baseball conference. And, year in, year out, our Friday night under lights, two number ones going head to head is usually a pitching duel. And so it's a lot of fun to be a part of and to experience, that's for sure.
So how do you, I guess, compete what's the plan with a conference that is so competitive? How do you prepare for the tournament knowing that, when you hit the tournament, it becomes, all, it's real the whole season, but it becomes all the more real during the tournament. How do you prepare for the tournament? Is there any way special or?
Yeah, the Missouri Valley Conference tournament is a lot of fun. Obviously, it's 8 out of 10 teams make it. And so if you look at, there's also strategy as far as getting rewarded throughout the regular season, not only finishing the top 8, but if you finish in the top 4, you put yourself in a position for kind of a first round bye, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so it's a playing game on Tuesday as far as 5 and 8, 6 and 7. So it's really crucial and key to put yourself in a position to be in the top 4. That lines yourself up with your number 1 going against somebody's number 2, and then you're off and running. Then it's just, late in the tournament, being able to have the offense and hopefully the depth on the mound to be able to, be competitive. And last year, Indiana State was very talented. They had a high RPI. We knew they were going to get an at-large, just had one of the most remarkable seasons you'll see in Missouri Valley Conference history. And we took them to the brink. Being able to have the walk-off grand slam from Chase Hugg in game 1 of the championship game to force a game 2, was just remarkable effort and just an overall great for college baseball. And, unfortunately we fell short, but we want to put ourselves in a position again this year with the talented group that we have at home. That's what's really, really special is that we are hosting the Missouri Valley Conference tournament for the very first time since 1998. That's been a significant amount of years. And there's been a lot of great things over the last couple of years that put ourselves in a position to host as far as some facility upgrades and just the overall effort that we've had on this campus. And so just really looking forward to bringing great college baseball into this community that they're going to get a chance to enjoy. And hopefully we put ourselves in a position playing late in the week, which will be a lot of fun.
What does that mean to you to be able to host a tournament, because you're pretty much Evansville through and through. What does it mean for you to be able to bring the tournament to Evansville?
A significant amount. I mean, it just does. Like I said, since 1998, we haven't had the facilities to be able to do it, and just the hard work and a lot of people behind the scenes throughout the years that have helped this program, elevate with the facility enhancements and put ourselves in a position to have an indoor space for pregame, to be able to have the full field turf, padded walls, and just, meet the guidelines necessary to host the championship. And not only host this year, but we want to be in the rotation. We want them to make sure they come back years down the road. And I think the economic impact this is going to have is going to be enormous. But the amount of teams coming in with the amount of fans, what it's going to do to hotels, restaurants, and so many retail shopping around the area is going to be amazing. And that's why we've teamed up with Brandon McClish and the Evansville Commission. They're spearheading what is going to be an overall great tournament and great for the community.
You mentioned now that you can recruit at the tournament, but does that help you with exposure for recruiting?
Winning
Yeah.
helps, always helps with exposure,
Yeah.
and I just want to be able to showcase our facilities on a national stage because obviously all conference tournaments, and what we have with ESPN3, really we'll get an opportunity to get, prospective student athletes eyeballs on, what the university is all about and the direction we're going in. So just going to be a great opportunity to really, and a platform to showcase the progress we've made as a program and the overall direction and future we're going in.
This is how much do you encourage pitchers to get creative in your own program?
To get creative?
Yeah, get
Oh,
or kind of expand their, what they throw.
yeah. I mean, we are, since we have a small roster,
Yeah.
and we have a pitching coach, an assistant pitching coach, and then our head athletic trainer and our strength and conditioning coach all work hand in hand with just the overall development of our pitchers. Because let's be honest, I mean, they're the lifeline, they're the heartbeat of your program, and you've got to continue to develop pitching, and so it's very individual based as far as, I've got a fifth year senior that has certain needs compared to an incoming freshman that
Yeah.
has certain, and I credit, the team that we have in place to really have overall pitching development. It's so individualized to make sure they're progressing and getting better and ultimately working on their craft. I mean, pitchers, I'll tell you, it's the most challenging thing to do in college baseball is because day in, day out, it's so mundane, so, routine oriented. And so it's so challenging from a mental standpoint to be able to attack, each and every day. And so, yes, that's an enormous part of, bottom line is I want our guys, each and every one of our players, to play with their hair on fire. I want their personalities to come to the forefront. I want them to play loose. I want them to play confident. I want them to have absolutely zero fear whenever they get on the field. And so, we've really been a team that plays with a lot of emotion, a lot of passion. Our dugout is absolutely electric. From that standpoint, we got guys bought into something bigger than themselves. And I think that's when something unique and special can happen. Is we have a bunch of selfless individuals that are really there each and every day to breed our culture, and our culture hopefully leads to ultimate success.
You touched on earlier, having two older brothers that are both athletically gifted. How much do you think that's helped you get to where you are?
Oh, a significant amount. I mean, you know, to sit here and follow my brother's lead and kind of see that it can be done. I can play college baseball. I can put myself in a position, to get out of Castle High School and have success. And then obviously, the unbelievable career that Jamie Carroll, my brother, had. Having a 12-year big league career, and nothing was ever easy for him. And so just seeing the trials and tribulations and the mental capacity for him to grind through a 12-year big league career at 5'9", a buck 70, just is absolutely remarkable. And I've been able to learn a significant amount of life lessons off of both of my brothers. And now, I'm trying to carry on and lead to young men that are navigating through their career and their overall life path that they're embarking on.
He did your brother, I think I read this when I was doing research. He scored the last run in Expos history, right?
He did. He absolutely scored the last run in Montreal Expos history. And just following his career has been a significant amount of fun. Such a talented, not just player, but also just a talented mind of the game. A guy that knows the game, knows how to communicate and lead and be a part of a culture. And he's helped with us behind the scenes a significant amount over the last couple of years as he stepped away from the front office of Pittsburgh Pirates a couple of years ago. And just, his impact on our program has been enormous in a lot of different areas. And so just love having him around. Also love having my oldest brother around as well, as they're both supporting me in this community, and my father's still here in town. It just means a lot to me that I have the support and help and assistance, as I'm the little brother that they still care about, and push and get me to keep excelling here at UE.
So that's what I have prepared question wise. Is there anything else you want to get in there, Coach?
Yeah, it's just going to be an overall great season at German American Bank Field at Charles H. Brown Stadium. I know that's a mouthful, but just very fortunate to the position that we are in as a program, and the turnaround that we've had over the last 5 or 6 years with the young men on this roster. And I believe this community is going to really experience some great overall college baseball here. And then obviously hosting the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. Our schedule is absolutely loaded with Power Fives. And so hopefully people can follow along through social media, through ESPN3 platform, but also coming out and enjoying college baseball at a beautiful facility. And I'm really looking forward to the future and what we're getting ready to embark on. And so, I just want to thank you for the time, getting to know me and our program more and more. Something that I'm extremely proud of, what we've been able to accomplish here, but most importantly, just what I believe the future holds for us as well. So thanks so much, man.
Well, thanks, Coach. This has been Hunter Wade at the Appalachian Lounge Podcast, and thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, this is Hunter Wade at the Athletes Lounge Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe where you can. Thanks.